Hello and welcome to the Selfish Podcast. Today we have Rico Sanchez, who I'm so excited to share his story, his life, and his journey, and really hear his words. He's someone that I come across only a month ago online through a Tony Robbins breakthrough event, and his story and what he shared just touched me, touched my love Danielle, and I can't wait to just get to know him in more detail. So welcome, Rico. Can you just share to the audience where in the world you are?
Hey Luke, what's happening, man? I am in the States right now. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm
Uh,
originally from Chicago, Illinois.
nice. And what I want to do is I want to talk about how we met in the Tony Robbins group. But first, I always start with my guests with a bit more about their childhood. Now, I know you had, from what you shared, quite a dramatic one. But can you paint me a picture of just like the beginning of your life? What was life like pre 10 years old?
So yeah, uh, well, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I come from Chicago, especially in the '90s, was really rough, and so I guess the story that I had shared that had impacted people was the fact that I was talking about how at 8 years old my stepdad had got killed at our front doorsteps, and it kind of it kind of led me it kind of that moment kind of led me down a dark path.
Yeah, and what was going on in your life pre 8 years old? Like, what was your parents up to? What was the area you lived in? What was life like pre that event?
I mean, pre that event, it was basically the same scenario, just not with anybody so close to home. Pre that event, from a neighborhood called Little Village. It's known as Gangland. And my whole life growing up, gunshots outside your window are a normal thing. And you know we uh we would whenever be gunshots, we'd make like a game out of it. We'd uh we'd all we'd all try to go to our favorite like hiding place. And it was a lot of us at the time, my cousins, my brothers and sister, and so sometimes we'd start fighting over who was there first, sort of scenario. But
Yeah, it's such a different upbringing to so many. I know so many also relate to it because you're not alone in that village. You know, there's so many people in that area. So what was your mother in this? You said a stepfather. So was your mom on her own at that point? Was she single? And how was her life with work and what happened there?
yeah. Well, my mom had me when she was 14 years old,
Hmm.
and so my father, he was a gang member and just wasn't. He ended up getting beat in the head with baseball bats, so he wasn't doing too well. So my mom, she ended up getting married, but at 18, I was with my daughter, my was not my daughter, my sister's father for a few years, and then he got caught up in drugs and started becoming abusive and everything like that. So by 21, my mom was divorced, and then she ended up with my little brother's father, and then 2 years later, that's when he got killed.
Yeah, so
And
that's an intense start.
yeah, it definitely was. And my mom, she kind of went crazy, after all of that. So she still ain't really been the same since. She's really traumatized in the head.
Well, it's a lot to deal with, and especially like she was still such she's a kid herself at 21
Man,
being divorced. You know,
man,
that's
yeah, she was a baby, man. She was divorced at 21 and 3. She was, man. I think
yeah,
about it now. I'm like, man, how can anybody go through that at that age?
yeah, like I said, it's an intense is the word that comes to mind first.
Yeah.
And what was it like? Like, what was school like? Did you manage to go to school or anything like that?
Well, I did and I didn't. For the most part. Um, for the most part, you know, I missed a lot. I missed a lot because I had to take care of my little brother and my sister.
Yeah, so you were the oldest?
Yeah, yeah, I'm the oldest.
By how much difference? What's the ages gap?
Uh, my sister is 3 years younger than me, and my little brother was eight years younger than me.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
so you missed out on sort of going to school and going that life. And like you said, so after eight, and then how did your life transition from that point on? After eight,
Uh,
and your stepdad was killed, and where what
so
happened?
so I ended up bouncing around, living with different relatives. Living relative to relative, and it just had a lot of anger and rage built up inside because you know I was dealing with this trauma, and nobody really knew how to help me through the trauma. And so after a while I just became like a burden to people. They just
Hmm.
didn't really care. They felt sorry for me more than anything. But as a kid you could see through all that, and you don't know how to react or respond. So you start acting out, and just you know when you don't feel like
Yeah,
anyone we don't feel like anyone is there for you, or cares for you.
yeah, like you might not have seen some of my content. I share a lot of my child. Like I had a really traumatic child, totally different to yours. So I can't say I relate to that exact experience, but I think we all have similar feelings that we can relate to. And like my mum had a really severe schizophrenia, and she was a single mother and looked after us in a real. We was in a lot of poverty, like a lot of time without food. But me and my brother became her full-time carers from a young age, and
Uh,
like from 7 years old, I was going through suicidal episodes, and like I was just questioning life. I couldn't see the point anymore. I was really trying to think, what is the point of all this suffering? And is that something you can relate to?
oh yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, definitely. It's especially when you're that young, and like you say, you don't see the point to life. At that age, you should be still using your imagination, but
Yeah,
we didn't get to develop like that. We had to face the harsh reality sooner than later, where life is real and you don't get to use that imagination.
yeah. And for me, it like went through stages. Like my family were like I think I'm not even sure to this day. I think they were Catholic, um, but I always used to think it was Christian. I didn't know the difference when I was younger. And I used to pray, and I used to like be on my hands and knees crying, looking for like salvation or help or something. And then that made me question religion, because like I didn't feel like I was getting any answers. Were you, because I see your name's Rico Sanchez. I'm guessing you've got Mexican heritage, and I know a lot of Mexicans
Yes.
have a strong faith system. Was religion part of your life?
Yeah, yeah. The religion was always a part of my life. Like my mom had put me in was like a Christian school, and before all that had happened and stuff, and then but like you said, you question all these things. You question why your life is the way it is, and you don't get no answers. So you same thing. I kind of strayed away from the light, because all I could see was the dark.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like for me, the first thing that came into my life that really helped when I was younger was boxing. I started boxing when I was about 11, 12 years old, and that was just somewhere to let out that rage, that anger. And fighting really does, like even just hitting a bag. I used to punch the bag till my knuckles were just bloody raw. Um,
Yeah.
and now I know you said you got into like gang culture and things where there's a lot of violence, and like it's a good outlet in sense of aggression, especially when you've been through a lot of pain. So how was your transition? Was there anything else at that time that you found that wasn't, say, that was good for you, that did help, or was it straight into sort of into just deep darkness?
It was deep darkness for a few years, because you just you we were born into the gang culture, so it's just everywhere around you. You don't even realize that there's more to life than that. But one thing that helped me through a lot of it is music. Like I do music
Mm.
now currently today,
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and and music's what had helped me out then. I wasn't doing music at that point in time, but I always felt like I could, like I can create. I just created a song too for Tony Robbins, for the UPW. I posted it in the Breakthrough Challenge. It's got like I posted it up 2 days ago. It's got like 10,000 views. You should check it
Oh,
out.
nice. I'll definitely go check that out. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love to hear that. What type of music?
Rap. I do rap.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that again, same like hip hop and rap was a huge influence when I was younger. I think the one that like really got to me when I was young was like DMX, and his lyrics were powerful for when I was going through some for some stuff. I used to
Yeah.
be in the gym in the boxing bag blasting his music.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
He
no,
just had
definitely check
that.
it.
He just had that pain release music. Come on. What? Yeah, I mean,
I was
come
actually
on.
listening to
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to one of his tracks today, but in a totally different light to when I was then, and it's like incredible to feel so different. Like you've been
Yeah.
through a crazy transformation to be in a place now that you're just talking openly about it, because that's an incredible thing in itself, just to be able to talk about your life. Like I had points where I was like, I'm never ever gonna talk about the stuff I went through because it was hell for me, and I don't want to give someone that hell. I don't want to put it out there. But when I shared stuff to people in real life, like it touched them and they were inspired and motivated, then I started doing the same online and got the same feedback, and it fueled me. It's like this is something new. So, what happened to you when you decided to share? Was it a breakthrough or something happened before that?
Well, really, it was just, really when I got out of prison, my my music just changed. Is one of my friends that told me like, man, you make a lot of pain music, and on one of my songs I talk about it where I say I didn't even know I was making pain music. I was just talking about my life. I was just rapping about my life, rapping about stories from the hood, and just what I've been through, and because I did it and put it out there, so many people started relating to it and just started feeling it. And so then when I did the breakthrough challenge, um, it was I just basically, just basically, was just talking about, my life. I'm fighting for visitation for my daughter, and I just been out of prison a year and a half, and I had to relocate to try to get in my daughter's life, and then they're using my past against me,
Mhm.
but I'm a great father, and but I realized that I wasn't a great person,
Yeah,
and and so I had to make these self discoveries and learn these things about myself and take accountability for my actions, and I had to reflect a lot on the past and realize why I am the way that I am, and why I have so much anger that I have anger, and I realized I had to correct it. I finally started to realize that God was giving me messages. God was giving me messages, and and I had to correct these things about my life, so like that I can be the sought as a fit father, to raise my little girls, and
yeah,
uh and during that realization, that's what I was talking about on the challenge, and I just started just was just I don't know, just was just telling people, was just telling people that I found Tony Robbins and a lot of methods that he was talking about that I started using, and it just helped me with my mind shift. I still struggle with my anger issues. Don't get me wrong, that's still my biggest struggle, but I know how to cope now, and I know how to shift it a lot faster than before. I was explosive, and that's what led me to prison.
mm,
Is I was quick to jump to violence, and so now I have control, I have a grasp over it. So I was just sharing that on that video, and a lot of people, I had no clue, like a lot of people resonated with it, because I realized I discovered something. I discovered how to deal with these traumas. I discovered how to beat it, and through the help of Tony Robbins, And so I was just voicing how I want to help people like me that come from where I come from or have been through what I've been through, have their their basically their childhood traumas and how to cope with it so like that they can live their best life, the same way I found my best life, they can be living their best life and living happy. It's just an idea, it's just a mindset, it's just an idea that we have to entertain, and we can entertain it at any time, but there's a lot of there's a lot of demons in the subconscious, that a lot of times we forget about it, we push to the back burner, but it's something that exists. It's something that plays an effect on our day-to-day relationships. And once we can identify those things and we can address them and rewrite the story to them, we no longer and we're able to control ourselves at the front of the situation.
Yeah, and be more active and less reactive. Like you say, it's when you've
Mhm.
been through them things, like you say, you can condition yourself to be so reactive to an event. And so, what, if you don't mind, what were you in prison for, and how long?
Um, well, I've been kind of in and out of jail most of my life, kind of just fighting a bunch of different cases, typically all like violence. But this last time I was in the federal penitentiary for 3 years.
Mm.
I was on a rap, and I was got into a fight with the club owners. I went back to my tour bus, and I came back and to the club, and I started shooting through the club to try to get inside, and uh, and then that's when they called the police. I fled the state, went back to Illinois, but they caught me in Illinois.
Oh, okay. That's again just more drama. Like, because injury 3 years seems quite short for like shooting a gun. I would have thought, but I'm guessing you just didn't hit anyone.
I initially just got charged with the gun charge, but in the feds they give you these different enhancements where you get more felony charges. So it was like 4 felony charges, but it was tied up into one. It was just an illegal possession of a firearm.
Oh,
So
okay.
so for gun possession, you can get like probation. So to get 3 years on a gun charge it's actually a lot of time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's interesting. This will be new for my guests and my the people that follow me, because I share stuff like mainly when it just comes up in conversation. So if something comes up that I can personally reflect on, I share on it. And I actually went to prison when I was 17. I didn't get a long time. I got like 8 months. And again, for similar reasons to you, that I was up for 10 years, and then it got dropped. And then the charge that I got dealt with was just handling stolen goods. But I was up for armed robbery, then theft, then yeah, it went to handling stolen goods. Um, but I only done several months, because then you get off with a little tag and have
Right.
to live like that. But it was an interesting experience. I didn't go back. Um,
For sure.
but I was actually really happy that I went, because you get to see a world that like no one else sees. So few see it.
Right.
But I found it really helped open my sight to just like how some other people were living. Noticed some people that were in some really bad patterns. Like, I did meet loads of people that were just repetitive in there, and these were like, I was in a juvenile one, so there was young kids in there, and they'd been in non-stop already their whole life.
Right.
Like, so it's such a crazy thing. So I wanted to ask you one question back to your childhood. Did you have like
Uh,
an ambition of something, like when you was younger? Did you ever dream you'd be something? Because I know you said like you came up in the gang culture like all around you. Was there ever an aspiration to be anything or do anything, or was it just from an early age that was the only thought you had?
Basically, yeah. There was this Snoop Dogg had this. He had this album out, and on his album, they said they're like, "Hey, little boy, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And he was like, "I want to be a motherfucking hustler." You better ask somebody. I don't know if you remember that, but
Yeah.
that was yeah. That was basically what it was like. And then you see these movies like uh, Blood In Blood Out and Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood, and walk outside your doorstep and that's your life, that's your reality. Except now they were commercializing they were making money off of it. So, you know, that's all you really want. You didn't really want to be anything else. You just wanted to be a drug dealer. You just wanted to be a gangster. You know, you just wanted to be a pimp. You didn't really know that you could be anything else.
Yeah, and like you said, it's real. You can look back at it now and just see how influenced you can be by them sort of things. Like for me, it was the mafia stuff that really intrigued me. I loved the way they lived their life when I was younger. I was like, they have respect, they all like have this family unit, and
Right.
yeah, they do some things that are a bit cruel, but it's necessary to be in place. And I like looked up to them sort of them sort of aspects. Whereas now I can see it and I'm like, oh, there's certain things in that I was looking at that weren't quite right.
Okay.
So that would really influence me, and I loved watching like all the old Robert De Niro films, and
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
and
Bronx
it was
Tale and Casino and all that. Yeah, Goodfellas.
yeah, and I remember watching that and like Donnie Brasco, and I used to always hate the
Yeah.
cops. I was like, there's rats, and
Uh-huh.
snitches and all that thing was driving me mad. I was like, you can't be. That's the worst thing to be. And I was like, I'm against the sort of police system. When I was younger, it was like they're the enemy. All these things were programmed in so strongly through sort of the influences that I had and what I saw even on the streets. Because even when you dealt with any police, they was never nice. Then they didn't
Right.
seem. I don't know if it was the same experience for you, but it never got a good experience from them, even if it was just a casual experience.
Right.
And I think just that thing against authority as well. What I wanted to ask you is like, so now it's like years later. I'm not sure how old you are. Do you mind sharing how old you are now?
I'm 36.
But it's okay. We're saying I'm 35, so we're like nearly the same age. Um, so yeah, for me, like, how do you think your younger self, say around like 13, 15 years old, if they was to meet you now, what do you think your younger self would think about you?
That's a good question. Um, I don't know. I'm a pretty cool guy, you know what I mean? So pretty sure 15-year-old version of me would think I'm the shit.
That's nice. That's good. Yeah, I think they would see there's a different way of being. And like a big part I
So,
share on my thing is that it's like it's not about success, isn't about how much money you have, what your lifestyle like. To me, it's just your attitude. And it sounds like you have a successful attitude. And I think that's what's most important.
thank you. Yeah, and I realized that when you have and I realized that when you have that successful attitude that that's what you start to breed. You start to breed success.
Yeah, like I said, and I think your story, like, it's just incredible that you've gone through such stuff and you're able to share it and talk about it. And like you said, I think that help a lot of people who are in similar situations to you. But I also think it helps people that are like nowhere near your situation, because a lot of people have judgments and conditions they set on people. And when someone's been through sort of different sort of things and lifestyles that they don't say like, they would they think then people can never change. They could never be compassionate. They can never change. And you're proof of the possibility of change. And I think that's what's so inspiring. And I think that's why, like in the Tony Robbins group, not everyone in there's probably ever been anywhere near some form of gang culture or violence. They've had their own issues, but
Right.
they're touched by your story. And I think that's the power. And for me, I think everything's an energy, and there's always a polarization in something. So like, you forward only exists because backwards exists. And there's a north, there's a south, there's always a polar. And I think our biggest traumas also offer us our biggest gifts in life. That's like where we find our service in life. This is how I see life anyway, that we have
Mhm.
unique skills and unique events, and they actually offer us something that's beautiful.
Definitely, I agree with that. You know, everything I had to go through, everything that I had to go through in order to get to where I'm at today. And where I'm at today is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, my future's bright, my future's abundant, it's beautiful, it's everything I can imagine. Now I can use my imagination. No
Yeah.
problems. And I know how to bring it into fruition, everything.
Yeah, and I imagine you got lots of ambitions and stuff. Like a big thing for me is I'm really highly ambitious, always have been. But when I was younger, I had expectations and I was living in my ambitions. I was like waiting for the future to come. and like miserable in the moment I was in because I was always waiting for something to change. Whereas now I have ambitions, but even if I don't get them, I'm gonna die with a smile no matter when it is.
Hmm. Yeah, I realized that I have the ability to literally create everything that I want in my life, and but it's all about that. It's all about that energy, you know. It's all about what you put out into the universe. What you put out to the universe is what you're gonna get back. And I was putting out all the wrong sauce for so long, you know.
Yeah.
And now I got the good juice, and that's how life is coming to me.
Yeah, and do you feel yourself like when you're doing this stuff and like, because I know you're putting yourself out there more online, and I think you've got a Facebook group as well that's just like dedicated to your transformation process and what you're sharing. And have you found that that gives you actual energy, like fuel, like, like sustenance, like you can live off it?
You know, it does help me out. I go on my live, and I'll bring other people in on the live, and I let them talk about, give their background, their story, whatever, and and I just, because like you said, even though everyone's story is different, there's things that we can relate to one way or the other, and I mean, because it's all the same, it's all the same emotions, it's all the same words, it's all the same feelings, it's all the same association and disassociation, and it doesn't. The only thing that changes are, the players in the video game. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's basically but it's all the same script. It's it's the same. We all go through the same thing. Some people have it worse than others, and so I'm just able to. And I think that's what you're right. What people are drawn to me is that change, because people ask me all the time, like, well, how did you do it? Like, how did you, what's the how? And that's what I give a lot of people. So on my transformation page, it does help me out, and it helps me out because I know that it helps other people, and they get inspired by my story, and I just tell them exactly what it is I did. I just followed Tony's methods. I just listened to what I just started implementing his strategies, and it worked. My life started changing.
Yeah, nice. And so, yeah, I want to talk because that's where I first saw you on the breakthrough group. I done the breakthrough when like a year or two ago when they done the first one. Then I've done one of his UPWs as well last year, and then I done this one as well, which was free. And they're just such amazing events to just be a part of, and the people in the community are beautiful.
Yeah.
So but you were pulled up on screen with Tony, and he spoke with you. How did that come about? Did you share on the Facebook page, and did you just suddenly get a message and they said we're pulling you up?
Yeah, I just they did that identity challenge, what was your identity before, what's your identity now, so I did that video, and when I did that video, someone had messaged me and they were like, "Hey, you know, Tony wants to check your messenger." I checked my messenger and they're like, "Hey, you know, Tony wants to bring you in on a Zoom call." I was like, "What?" At first I was just thinking like, oh, maybe he just wants me to be part of you know, their group or whatever on for the VIP, because I think that's what they had said, something to that effect. So then when I
Yeah.
got on there and then he was talking and then he shouted me out, I actually I put a sample. I sampled his voice when he was on the song that I did. I put that in
Mhm.
there, so you gotta make sure you listen to it.
Yeah, I
It's really
definitely
good.
will. I'm gonna listen to it as soon as I get off it.
And he was just like, give a shout out to Rico. And then I was just like, oh wow. He's like, Rico, I think we actually got you on the phone or on the call, whatever. And that's when I was just like, yeah, I hear you. I was like, you hear me? I was like, he's like, yeah. He's like, I see you too. I was like, damn. I was just like, wow. Like I was shocked. I was surprised. Like, man, I'm talking to Tony Robbins. Like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, yeah, because I watched, I could see the authenticity in it, and like literally, me and my love Danielle was sitting there watching it, and your story of all the moments in the whole event, yours touched us the most, and we was literally in like light tears, you know what I mean, like not crying our eyes out, but it literally brought emotions to the surface of just like love and compassion for you. We was just like, oh, this is beautiful, this man sharing, and it was just the fact of you sharing your life and your story, like you said, your old story to your new story. So
Yeah.
again, I just thank you for sharing and putting yourself out there.
Oh, no problem. I had no idea. Yeah, I've been on this journey for like a good year now, and I just been to myself. Like I don't know nobody out here in Arizona, like, other than my daughter, and I've been fighting to get back in her life, and so I just been out here. I just been working, and I just been working and working on me, and so I haven't really had communication with people or been talking to people, and so this was just all an internal thing for the longest. And so when I finally opened my mouth and I got the response that I got, it's still surprising to me.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, like, because you don't ever really know what the world or people are going through or who's going to relate to your story, you know?
Yeah, like even for me reaching out, like you said, you're in Arizona in the States. I'm over in Europe in Spain at the moment. You know what I mean? I would have never have connected or known about you if you didn't just put yourself out there. We live in such a
Right.
beautiful time right now to be able to connect to so many people so far. It's a bit like, when you said in your childhood you grew up in that little village. I know it's called Little Village, but it's a rundown city, right? In
Yeah.
Chicago, like an area. So I don't want to confuse anyone listening thinking you're from a nice little village. It sounds not very nice. But yeah, you're from there, and like you said, like back then as well, that's all that's your community, and you become your community. Whereas now we can connect and make communities for ourselves. Uh, Semi-digital, but we're actually really connecting, like we're having an actual conversation. And that's the beauty of right now. There's a lot of people that really don't like technology, but for me it's about utilizing it. Are you using it correctly? Is it using it as a tool? So I think is that a big part of like your plans? Have you got plans to what's your plans? What have you got planned for the next few years? Yeah, like right now we can create communities. And like I said, you grew up in a community where it's proximity based. Like you didn't have the technology at hand we have now. Now we can connect like we are across the world. And we can connect to people on similar missions, similar paths, or people that need to just have a light shined into the darkness so they can also come out of it. What's your plans over the next sort of in the future? What do you see yourself doing? Do you plan on continuing building more community and connecting in that way, like digitally?
Yeah. So what I got going on right now is I hooked up with a nonprofit in Chicago. It's called Chicago Join Hands, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be on helping mothers and children uh, with coping with traumas. We're going to be paying for like their therapy and counseling.
Oh, nice, man. Well done. Congratulations. It's beautiful to hear that you're just contributing in that thing. Like I said, I think we live to give, as Tony says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
You're now working doing this, as you like just heard a little bit of it. What's your work that you do now? I'm curious to know what you're doing. I know you're in a truck. That's all I know.
yeah. I'm a truck driver locally here in Phoenix. That's what I was on the radio about right now because I was turning and I had seen them right now. I seen it looked like he was trying to radio me, and I was like, man, I realized that I wasn't on the same channel and the volume was low. So I asked him, and it's raining out here, so it's all backed up. It's all backed up over there, and it's just all messed up. So I had to turn around right now. But yeah, I'm a truck driver right now, and I'm gonna be doing the leadership academy with Tony, and so he's gonna get me certified to be a life coach. So
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go in that direction. It's kind of seems the direction life is putting me in, and if that's the case, if that's what God decides for me, then I'll go for it, go with it.
Yes, I think it's definitely worth at least like putting your foot in the water and just having a feel for it at least before making any big decision. And
Mm.
does it excite you to think about it?
It does. It really excites me is is being able to get to meet Tony.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just feels really good. It's like an accomplishment to get acknowledged because the whole time I was a monster to this person, monster to this. You get this, you get you get this picture painted of you,
Mm.
and and you start to believe it and everything. And when I decided that everyone else is crazy and I'm gonna be the best version of me, and no one can tell me otherwise. And now that, and to be acknowledged by like the guy for these mind shifts, you know, it's a very big, it's a very satisfying like accomplishment. Like, man, okay, I'm doing good. I am doing good. I gotta pat myself on the back, like Tony Robbins, says
Yeah,
acknowledging me, and he's going to invest in me, and you know, it's
yeah.
it's a
Like you
wow
said, pat
factor for
yourself on
sure.
the back, man. Especially on them days if you have days, because I know you're early in your sort of transformation journey, and it's always ups and downs at the beginning, especially. It's a bit like a roller coaster, and it's just that self appreciation and self gratitude and self like patting yourself on your back, like self encouragement, so important that you actually keep encouraging yourself. And it is hard if I think, like I know for myself, I'm going by my own experience because I can't be you and share yours. But I know, like you said earlier, there's similarities in our feelings for everyone in our life and our events. But there's times where you feel like you are your past, and like you can in the down days you can feel like that is your label, that is your image, that is like you can't be certain things, and it's just like nah, it's limitless what you can do, and you're only in the moment you are. You're not in the past. You're not even in the future. You're in the moment right now. But yeah, definitely that self encouragement is key to keep going. So yeah, definitely pat yourself on the back. Yeah, I was curious because you said you went to you come out of prison like a year and a half ago. I was going to ask you like how's the sort of this whole pandemic situation over the last 2 years, like how that's impacted your life. But so was you in prison when that started?
Yeah, I was, and then when I got out, it was so before I went to prison, I was uh, I was an entertainment promoter, and I had my own marketing business, and I was working in entertainment in Chicago, and I would do it like all over the country. And then so when I got out, the whole country was shut down, was closed down.
Mm.
There were no public events and everything like that. So I was like, man, that's what I'm really good at. That's my niche. Like, what do I do from here? But I had already developed the idea to do other things when I was in prison. So I had got like I had took the test for the CDL when I was in prison. So then when I got out, I just took it again and got my license for my commercial driver's license to drive the semi trucks. And um and uh and this is the one industry that needs people.
Yeah. So what are you carrying the trucks?
um well well, this particular company, we're not doing like shipping goods and nothing like that. Basically what this company does is it we haul auto fluff to the landfill. So it's basically when the scrapyard, they bring in the junk cars. They everything on the inside, the plastics, the seats, the vinyls, everything. They uh they basically set it on fire, hose it down, and then they dump it at the landfill, and that's where we come in. We get loaded and we drive it out and dump it on landfill.
Oh, okay. So how much driving are you doing per week?
So like yesterday I did uh let me see, 50. Yesterday I did 400 miles, and today will be uh just 250.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's a lot of driving. I seen on you because I'm following you. I think on Facebook, and I've seen a lot of gym pictures, and I think even your picture on here is a double biceps on your messenger. So when's it? I see you doing a lot of fitness and stuff. When did training come in? And I imagine you needing to train if you're sitting down driving all the time as well to get your body moving.
Oh, the fitness came into play with everything. That's how I was helping fight the depression. Um, so so the fitness. So I'll drive all day. and then every day after work, as soon as I park my truck, I'll go straight to the gym. I don't care what it is I'm doing. I gotta go straight to the gym, and I'll be there for at least a good solid 2 hours, 2.5 hours, three
Oh,
hours.
nice.
On a Saturday or Sunday, I can spend like 4 to 6 hours in the gym. And or hiking or doing something or doing a 10K. But it I learned a few things. I learned that you know Tony says that people have depression because they feel like they have no control over their life, and I found it to be true. There was situations in my life that I was allowing to consume me, and I just had absolutely no control over them. So what I started to do was focus on the things that I have absolute control over, and progress equals happiness. So when when you live in a state of gratitude, you're happy, and you're less likely to be angry because you're appreciating life. And so I started appreciating these little steps, this progress. I started this 90-day challenge, where it's dieting and exercise and working out, and I developed these routines. Like I've done it before in the past, and but now I have like a nice regimen towards it, and I take pictures and I follow it. Like I'm gonna post another one on our transformation page, and you're able to see within 10, 20, 40, and this last one is 60-day time span. You're able to see physical changes within my body, and so at the end of this 30 days, I'm excited to see what that's going to look like, and then I'm going to start another 90 days because once I start the other 90 days, it's basically going to be like getting my body ripped. You know what I mean? Like right now, I
Yeah.
was losing the weight, and I was a big guy. I was 306 pounds, and so I had to lose weight, and then I had to fill in. I had to fill it in with muscle because of the extra skin, and so now that it's all like shrinking in and it's starting to tone, the after I finish these 30 days, I know I'm gonna look pretty solid, and after that, it's just gonna be about just getting ripped, just really toning it all up, bulking up and toning up.
Yeah, nice. Because yeah, I see a lot of content online to do with like say health or mental mind shift and mindset, and like so many people don't talk about the physical aspects, and
Oh,
training and how important it is to move your body. It's not just all in the mind, especially for things like depression. Like I suffered depression for nearly 2 decades, and
wow.
like moving the body, man, is so important and having good posture. That's why I love on the Tony Robbins. You know the Brian Bradley? Did you see him who comes on doing the little getting your body moving, making sure you're keeping your posture in check? Do you remember
Oh yeah,
him?
yeah, 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 yep, yeah.
Yeah, like his stuff, man, is so important, and that's why Tony Robbins has him up there. I had Brian Bradley on one of my earlier podcasts about. I'm not sure what
Wow,
episode it was, maybe episode 10. We had a great chat about like his journey in his life, how he got. Because I was so pleased to see him as part of Tony Robbins, because like posture is such a big part of our life, like how
huge.
your body is, what condition your body in. And I was saying to someone else, like I was like, even if you're really say big and out of shape and you think you're like living good, it's not fat shaming, but you don't know how fantastic you will feel when your posture's good and your body's in its right ratio, right shape. You
Exactly.
know, yeah, structure dictates the function. If someone's structure's off, the function's off. And like I see so
Yeah.
many people like the mental health aspect, like it's physical too. You got to
Oh,
train, you got to move
definitely.
your body. And I loved
Huge.
his thing. Is like, what was it? It's like you can have the best chair in the world, but if you've got a $2 ass, as he says it, it doesn't matter, because
Right.
make yourself strong, and then sitting doesn't matter. Like you could be driving all week, but because of what you're doing in the gym, yeah, you're not going to get sick from all that driving, because you're going to make your body strong and you'll be able to handle the driving.
Right. Yeah. Most truckers, once they get behind this wheel and they get this job, they get fat because they're just sitting there and they're eating, and man, but in the past 60 days, I I I cut out I quit drinking, I quit smoking, I quit. Man, the past 60 days have been a tremendous feats for me. But it's the physical plays it for me. I want to say it's everything.
Mm.
My mental health. Like I was just recently sick. I went to court, and it wasn't for visitation with my daughter, and it wasn't ideal. Yeah, for what I would have liked to have happened, and so I had to. It's postponed all the way to May 6th, and so it'll be like almost a year and a half before that I haven't seen my daughter by that time, and it just I was just so just devastated by the outcome that I actually made myself sick. And
Mm.
and that was like one of the last episodes that the guy was talking about, where he was saying that your mind, your body, the stress, it affects specific places, areas of your body, and you can legitimately get yourself sick, but you can also heal yourself. So I legitimately got myself sick, like I got myself sick, and I haven't been sick like in 10 years, you
Yeah.
know. But I knew what it was. I knew it was my mind. I knew it was my mind, and it was taking a toll on my body and everything. So I had to take some time off and recenter myself. But just so I didn't work out for like 2 weeks, and just in them 2 weeks, man, I could just see where my mind was just going down the shitter, man. It was just because again, I started feeling like I had no control over my life, and so just Monday I started back at the gym, and already I feel like me again, and it's because out of anything in life, that is the one thing I have absolute control over. I have absolute control over my health. I have absolute control over how my body is going to look, what the end results are going to be. And when I first started with the physical training, it was like, again, to get rid of the depression, to get rid of the pain. Like every time I would hurt or get angry or get frustrated, I'll go run. I started running 5 miles. I would run 5 miles, and just to beat myself up, just to beat my brain up, because then my brain would be like, okay, when you distract your brain from what all the negative thoughts from whatever's going on, when you can distract it, and with implementing that pain for actual physical pain or something else, it's like it's the brain doesn't want to act up anymore. It's like, okay, you know what, I was out, but I'm cool. Let's just, it's just focus on the physical pain now, and
Yeah.
make me feel good because I control that pain. I control the hurt around me. The world around me will not hurt me, cannot hurt me. I control that hurt, and I'm gonna control that hurt for as long as I possibly can. And Now I'm running 10Ks. I would set these goals. You know, uh, I would set these goals, and to where what I would reach, and then it went from trying to get rid of the pain to now I actually use it because I go so hard. And when I run 5 miles and I need to get that last mile and a half in, my body is feeling it physically. Then that's when I'll tell myself, like, this isn't pain. The what you felt when you were locked up. What I'm saying, away from your family, missing your kids, missing your daughter now, and all this, like, that's pain. And then I now for that extra amount of fuel to. And it's weird. It's weird how they both play into each other. One destroys the other, and the other burns the other one off. It's just I love it. I love it.
Yeah, nice. Like you're saying, it's a consistency, even if it's small amounts, Like if you can't, like for anyone listening as well, like if you can't even get to physically move your body for like an hour straight, even just doing 5 minutes is better than nothing, just to actually move, get your heart racing, to shake it off, especially if you're having like a lot of like, it's hard when you're in a state of like I had depression and like chronic fatigue in my early 20s, like the chronic fatigue set in, and I really struggled just to move or to do anything. But like if you can just change your posture, change
Yep.
your just get up, run outside even for 5 minutes and jump up and down, like that's going to trigger you into a totally different sort of mind
Exactly.
state, physical state,
Yeah.
emotional state, and it will just shake it up. And it's just
Yeah.
breaking them patterns.
it's progress. That's progress. Even those little steps are
Yeah.
progress, and that's the key to happiness. Is when you have to see the progress. You have to There has to be progress. You know, you have to see it, even if it's just those little things. Said, motion. Tony says that you have a lack of emotion because you have a lack of motion. So you have to be physical. The physiology is everything, and that's one of the videos that I usually play the most. Is he'll say, if you're feeling any type of way, first you got to change that physiology, change your mind state, change your current state, and get into the power pose, do the power pose for 2 minutes, and it'll have the chemicals in your brain. It will There are studies from Harvard that they studied Tony Robbins' methods and scientifically were able to prove that yes, this power pose for 2 minutes is going to change your state.
Yeah, and the power pose for people listening. How could they do that power pose?
Stand like Superman.
Yeah,
Stand like Superman for 2 minutes every
yeah,
day.
and is it?
So I I had went through a breakup. Not with my daughter's mother, but I had got into a relationship with another lady, and I was just all like shitty about it because ultimately it was me again being a shitty person, that created this breakup. And not only was it a breakup, but I had did emotional damage to this woman, and so this other girl that was when I pull onto the scale with my truck, this girl that works there, she would talk to me or whatever. I think she kind of liked me or whatever. So she took a picture of me and she sent it to me. She's like, "What's wrong? Like you look, like man, what's going on with you? You look, basically terrible." And I looked at the picture and I was like, "Damn, I was looking terrible. My posture was terrible. It was off." And so when I started listening to these things with Tony Robbins and everything, then I with the whole posture and everything. So now every time I get on that scale and I hop off and I know those cameras are there, those cameras are watching, while I'm waiting for my paperwork, I'm standing there for that 2 minutes in the power pose because I
Yeah,
will
they're looking on the
never,
camera and going, "Is
ever,
that Superman?"
yep, exactly. I will
Yeah,
never, ever, ever allow anyone to ever see me look like that ever again. I'm going to stand tall. I'm going to have my head up high.
yeah, and it's that difference keeping your chest up, like in your head up above your shoulders. Like you can look at someone depressed and the head's fallen down, the back's caved in. You know, I say to a lot of people, like, because I used to do personal training and I still do certain things with people to help them bring themselves back into balance. And just one of the simple things I do is tell them like to go for a walk in the morning, just 20 minutes. And I said, but if so, imagine someone was filming you, and I said it's a silent movie. They need to be able to watch that movie and go, that's a joyful person having a walk. And I said, how does that look? How does it look in silence to look like someone's having joy? What's that express like? And it's good posture, it's chest up, it's a smile on your face. And I challenge anyone listening, try and walk with a constant smile on your face. It's actually quite hard,
Right.
and with your chest up. But after time, it actually becomes easy because it's enjoyable, because it feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. You start to
Is
see
that
the
say,
progress.
yeah, is that something you struggled with? Because I know, like in sort of gang culture and in sort of any sort of things, like looking smiley isn't the best because you've got to look tough, and
Oh,
you don't look that tough when you're smiley, you know?
right. Yeah. Yeah. No, huge. It is a huge factor. Huge factor. A big deal. Like I'm still struggling with it now with all of everybody. So now in my pictures, when I take pictures where I'm smiling, and it's rough. It is hard because it's a whole it's a whole mental conditioning of being hard, being tough, looking hard. But when you're being hard and you're looking tough, you're putting out that energy. Yeah, you put out that aggressive
Yeah,
energy. Now it's good to have it. It's good to keep it. It's good, and it's good to keep. It's good to have the warrior and be ready to use the warrior. It is a necessity, especially for a man. It is a necessity. You know, it is our nature. We have to protect. We are providers and protectors, and you have to have that. However, you don't have to always you don't have to be a soldier all the time. You know what I'm saying? You can be at ease. And so that is a struggle, and it's something I'm getting better with. It's funny that you mentioned that because I didn't even acknowledge it. as a struggle until you just said it right now. But yeah, it's something that I struggle with because I'm so used to having to be this, this tough exterior, and now I can smile. I can smile and I don't have no problems with it. I'm not insecure about smiling. I'm secure with smiling, and I work on that for the most part of my day. I work on that. I work on keeping a smile on my face because those muscles in your face, all that stuff. Tony talks about the physiology. Even that makes a difference. It's not just even the power pose. It's just as simple as keeping a smile on your face. It will change your whole physiology, which will change how you're thinking. It will change how your body is feeling. Your body is all energy, and it will any of the slightest amount of negativity will alter that.
Yeah. It's interesting, yeah, because I had the problem for smiling as well, like for different reasons. But like part of it was because I spent a lot of my life depressed and sad and angry, and I used to hate like someone ever pulled out a camera, I would be the one to take the picture if I could, or I'd
Mhm.
try and avoid. Like, I've got very few pictures of myself in my younger years because I would just didn't want to see my own miserable face because I wouldn't fake a smile because I'm like I'm not faking myself. I'm not fake. So I was like, if you're gonna take a picture of me, I'm gonna look miserable because I'm miserable.
Right.
And someone says, smile, smile, you look miserable. And I go, yeah, but I am. So why would I smile? And then when I started to feel good about things, feel good about life and stuff, it's like my partner said to me, like, you look really miserable. And I was like, no, but I feel good. She goes, yeah, but you look miserable. And then I was realizing, wait a minute, I'm still conditioned to like, I need to learn to smile again. I had
Mhm.
one moment, like I forgot what excitement felt like. And I was doing some like exercise, like I do a lot of breath work and stuff. I don't know if like you heard different things, but I was sitting down in like a semi meditation type environment. I was out in nature and I was sitting there just doing some breath work, and excitement came to mind. And I was sitting there thinking about excitement, and I couldn't remember the last time I felt excitement. And it actually started from the very first Tony UPW. Do you know, like he shouts out phrases, and he shouted out, say you're excited noise. He goes, shout out your excited noise. And I was blank. I was like, I've never been excited enough to make a noise. I was like, I don't have an excited noise. And it really plagued me because I was like, what's excitement feel like? And I couldn't think what excitement felt like. And then when I was doing this breath work and I was sitting there feeling it, I started to cry and laugh at the same time. That I was so excited that I've never felt excitement for so long. That was exciting. And it set off all these emotions because I was laughing, crying, going, I'm excited that I've never been excited. And that excited me. And I go, oh, this is excitement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And yeah, it's just a crazy thing. And like little things can just kick things off. But no, smiling, like I make it a thing now. If I see people when I'm walking on the street, anywhere I am, I really try and engage them, smile at them, say hello if I can as I'm passing, because it's something like I would like look the other way from people on the street normally, like or you just looking stern, like similar. Like I was always known as being tough, like I could always handle myself because I boxed for over like 10 years, weight trained, and done loads of things. So I was never got bullied or picked on because I could stand up for myself. Um, but I had that reputation of being stern and being strong, as well as being depressed and being angry. And that was like 20 years of that, So it's real hard to break them patterns and to condition yourself, like you said, to smile, to be nice. We're nearly at the end of the podcast. Where can people find you on like online? Where's the best place for people to connect with you, to follow your journey, to just find out more about you and your story and what you're putting
Um,
out?
so I have a YouTube channel. They can follow my music. My music really tells is really what tells my life story. That's Almighty King Rico. It's Almighty ALMIGHTY King Rico KINGRICO. They can go on my Instagram. I'm not really too much on Instagram. But I'll do my lives like when I'm in the studio. Typically, I'll record my lives there on my IG, which is Almighty K Rico, ALM IGHTYKRICO. Um, and then and or base or Facebook Rico Sanchez. But I drive a truck, so it's so hard for me to really like get to my messenger and messages and stuff like that. But because I got to focus on the road and I'm on the road for
Yeah.
like 10 to 14 hours a day sometimes. And, it's important for me to get in the gym. So sometimes I really need to figure out some kind of time management. But yeah, man, that's how it's basically how you get a hold of me.
Okay, yeah, I'll make sure I put all the links in the description. And like I said, people will be able to, like, if you're not able to be active, like I said, it's hard to be active to work and to go gym. Like you said, you're driving all the time, but people can see, just like you said on the Facebook group, I saw there's other people contributing and sharing your stuff. And, it's a place to people create a community to just inspire and motivate each other, to keep each other on path, to keep ourselves
For
in the light instead of in that darkness.
for sure. I think I'm gonna start doing my lives like while I'm like driving, just turning it on and going live. I have done that once before, and but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's good. Like I started YouTube videos. I'm thinking to do YouTube live soon as well. But I do YouTube videos and this podcast. The YouTube stuff I just share all my own like development and story and journeys, helping people with all things that's helped me. But I really want to connect with people. But I love doing it because it's like affirmations for myself to just, even if no one else heard it, every
Right.
time I say the things that I'm doing that are good, I'm keeping myself in that state. You're putting yourself in that presence all the time. So if you're doing lives and you're just talking about what you're doing,
But yeah, man. Let me figure this out though. Luke, I appreciate you having me, man.
you gotta go. You're going back to work.
Yeah, I gotta figure this. I gotta figure out what they got going on here.
All right, thanks, man. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and thank you so much for sharing and contributing and putting yourself out there.
For sure. Thank you, bro.
Uh, and if you ever need someone to shout on, if you're feeling bad or feeling good, you're always welcome to drop me a message anytime.
Definitely. I appreciate you.
All right, man. I appreciate you, brother. Have a good night.
All right.
Good day, sorry.
You too.
All right, man. Take
All right.
care. All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. As you heard, Rico was recording while working, so I didn't get to ask him the little fun questions I ask every guest. Maybe I'll get him back on when I start the second season and get into more detail, but I hope you enjoyed this show. It was really interesting to hear Rico's story, his life, and his passion for his new story. Now remember, if you want to find out more on Rico, check the description, links to his YouTube channel, his Facebook, his Instagram, and you can come and shine some love, some light his way, or be inspired and motivated through his journey, his transformation. Again, thank you for being here. This is the Selfish Podcast. I am your host, Luke Greenheart. LukeGreenheart.com to find out more on me and my mission, as well as Greenheart Store if you're looking to buy some merchandise that I designed, help support my mission, help support my content. And you can also be a Patreon at patreon.com/Luke Greenheart. If you have a spare bit of change every month, you can help fund my cause, my mission, so I can create more content and more videos. Check out Luke Greenheart on YouTube as well. Have a beautiful day. And again, I truly appreciate you for being here, for listening. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Selfish Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Greenheart, and I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. Just search Luke Greenheart on YouTube. You'll find me. Check out my website, lukegreenheart.com. Have an amazing day, and stay tuned for more episodes. I'll be interviewing guests on their path of self-development, their path to self, getting to know them in much more intimacy, much more depth, sharing and connecting with all, so we can have a much more blissful, joyful, and productive life together. All right, much love. Have a great day.